Hello everyone, it is Jazz here. I've been really intrigued by watching videos that people have done about books that they didn't finish or DNF'd. I decided that I would do a similar video, so I compiled a list of books that I just didn't finish. While there were a few on here that I just didn't like and stopped reading, there were also a few on here that I went, why did I not finish this book? I actually started it and liked it. Without further ado, here is a list of books that I did not finish and the reasons why I didn't finish them. So I thought I would start off with the most rantastic book on this list, Follow the River by James Alexander Thom. I feel like this book was already set up for failure as soon as I got it into my hands because it was assigned to me in 9th grade, and it was a book in a long line of books that I had either read already or thought were flipping terrible. Every book that I had read for school before that time period was really flipping awesome, and I guess I was just lucky that way, but I lost the luck in this time period. Now, I did have a lot of issues with the actual content. The actual writing, from what I can remember, was not particularly well done. I read books with some violence in them on my own time, but for some reason the violence in this one really bothered me because it was things like babies getting their brains bashed out, and it also contained the thing that I'm most squeamish about, which is really a difficult childbirth. I'm still squeamish about it. This book had another thing against it. This book was so flipping hard to get a hold of because it was on the reading list. So you couldn't renew it at the library. So when I got it at the library, I couldn't renew it. And I was like, I hate keeping books out and like having to pay for it. So I returned it thinking I could buy the book. And I actually could not find this book anywhere to buy it. Luckily though, after a lot of stress just in general with public school because of my learning disabilities, my mom decided to enroll me in correspondence school. So thus, I did not have to ever finish Follow the River, Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Now, I actually DNF'd this twice, but once was kind of an accident because I started it in 8th grade and I accidentally left my copy on the bus and lost it, and thus I just couldn't finish the book. The second time I didn't finish it, I believe, was right before or right after I watched the most recent adaptation, the musical adaptation of it, and I thought, you know what, I've watched so many adaptations of this book, I should probably get down to reading it. So I thought the easiest way, because it's so very long, was to listen to it in audiobook, and soon discovered that it takes literally like 9 or 10 chapters just to get to the main character Valjean. Like 9 or 10 chapters just about the priest that helps him. I was willing to let that go because it's on audiobook and I still like the writing style that was going on. But what happened was my life did not accommodate Les Miserables. I got super busy and just did not have time to really focus on a novel of that kind, so I put it aside thinking I could just go and pick it back up again. And I went to go and pick it back up again, and I was like, I don't know where I am in this. I just haven't had the gumption to just muddle through those 10 chapters before we get to Valjean. I don't know about that because, let's face it, Les Miserables is kind of depressing. I once heard it described as I had a dream and then I died. And that's kind of an accurate description. I'm gonna have to really get in the mood if I ever want to finish that book. Son of a Witch by Gregory Maguire. This is the sequel to the book Wicked. I really loved Wicked, so I thought for sure I would love Son of a Witch. Now this book is about Elphaba, or the Wicked Witch of the West's son. And if you can guess by knowing anything about Wizard of Oz, Wicked, unlike the musical, does not really end up on an up note, because, yeah, I'm melting, if you know what I mean. Her son had a horrible flipping life. Like, everything that happened to that kid was horrible in his childhood, and so I'm thinking Son of the Witch that at least one good thing will happen. And I start it, and I keep reading, and I'm like, is his life just going to continue to go in this path of just terribleness? Just have one moment of joy. And maybe he did, but I just couldn't suffer with him anymore, so I had to stop reading it. Rhett Butlers, People by Donald McKeag. So you know that I really love reading Gone with the Wind, and so I decided to pick this book up. I was interested in it because the summary kind of makes it sound like it's gonna follow Rhett Butler's story from before Gone with the Wind and some of what happens afterward. The front of the book is kind of like what the summary expresses. However, I got to the center of the book and I realized that the title, Rhett Butler's People, was really accurate. It is not so much a story from Rhett Butler's point of view as much as a story about people that know Rhett Butler. And not all of them are characters that we are familiar, like Melanie or Scarlett or any of those people. It's like people that the author made up. Now, I sort of liked hearing about Rhett Butler's relatives because those people are at least directly related to him, but some of his kind of not really friends, I didn't care about those people. I didn't really want chapters from the point of view of those people. He was doing some weird stuff with the characters that I actually was familiar with, which kind of made me like, why? At some point, I just gave up on it. I just could not take the insanity anymore. Next book might surprise some of you who know how much that I like to read a Neil Gaiman book, but I have yet to finish A Nancy Boys. I have started this like 3 times. And all of those 3 times, I have been unable to complete it. And the problem with this book is not so much the content as the fact that I always time the book badly. I always try to pick up A Nancy Boys when I'm in a reading slump. And because I'm in a reading slump, suddenly every character in here becomes annoying. And I go, I just can't do this with you right now. And I end up stopping reading the book. But I need to finish this. Because it's literally one of those books that just, it's elusive, and I'm reaching out for it. Atonement by Ian McEwan. Another book that I have tried to read multiple times and just can't seem to finish. Now, some of the issue with this book is that I did watch the movie before attempting to read it, and I really enjoyed the movie. The problem with that is that this book is a very slow moving book. The author is really into specific details and telling every little detail and every little thought that goes on in these characters' minds. I have tried to read it in an ebook. I have tried to read it in an audiobook. I do want to really experience this novel, but sometimes I can't get past that every little detail of everything, and I just don't know if I ever will. And another reason why I think it's kind of tough for me to read this is because I have watched the movie and know that, you know, it's gonna be a bummer. Somewhere in Time by Richard Matheson. I love the movie, and I thought this one evening when I was having trouble sleeping that I would find a good audiobook, and I found the audiobook of Somewhere in Time, and because I really liked the movie, I thought I might enjoy the story of the book. And I got into it and I was like, I'm not sure this writing style is really working for me, but I really don't know that it was the writing style. I feel like there was something that happened in the book that is not necessarily part of the film that made me question the time travel in this book. Because the book is about a man who uses self-hypnosis to go back in time and meet this woman that he's really intrigued by. This thing that he had in this book made me really question whether the time travel was actually real or just in this man's mind, and thus I kind of lost the magic. Like, it lost the magic of the time travel when I read the book, and I think I just kind of went, I'm gonna put this book down and continue to have the magic. Then we have a book that is actually on my TBR for this year because I still have not finished it, and it is The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. I have started this at least twice, gotten well into the book, and for some reason, I don't even know why, I have not finished it. I enjoy what I've read. I guess I just get distracted and move on to something else and like forget about it. Another book that was a classic that I actually really was enjoying but put down instead of completing it was Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. Now, I started this a couple years ago. I was fully intent on finishing it. I got well into the book in ebook format because I could get the ebook for free. And I realized that for the most part, I prefer to read classic novels in physical copy, and it was actually kind of driving me nuts reading in an ebook, and it's some kind of weird psychological thing. Like, I actually want to hold a classic book in my hands and read it. So even though I did get well into this book and I was really enjoying sort of the sarcastic, sardonic kind of humor that Jane Austen was using in this novel, I didn't finish it. But as you can see, I've bought a physical copy of Northanger Abbey, and I'm gonna make that happen someday. Now for my deepest, darkest bookish secret, and that is that I did not read the last 4 chapters of The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I know it's horrible, please don't kill me. First of all, was my brain just like not coping well with Two Towers. I loved Fellowship of the Ring, got to Two Towers, didn't love it as much just because it is a little bit repetitive. So going into Return of the King was a little bit of a like hump. And I did make it to those last 4 chapters. What happened was I spoiled myself on how the book ends with fan fiction. Now, granted, is it really a spoiler of yourself when you have watched all the movies by then multiple times? I don't know. The books do not necessarily end exactly how the movies end. Let's just say that the Hobbit's return to the Shire is not all rainbows and butterflies. There's still some drama going on, as I spoiled myself. And part of me says, yes, Tolkien did really need to deal with some of those minor villains and get that all wrapped up in a nice little bow. But part of me also says, haven't the Hobbits suffered enough? It just hurt me. I couldn't go into the last 4 chapters. It's gonna happen someday. I'm gonna like make it happen, finish those last 4 chapters, just to say that I have officially finished Lord of the Rings in its entirety. Because now I think I'm ready to read those last 4 chapters. I thought, why not throw in some comic books / graphic novels that I just have not been able to finish. One of these was X-Men: The Dark Phoenix Saga. There are some things that I liked and some things that I could overlook about this comic. Vintage X-Men is kind of soap opera-y in dialogue, and I have accepted that, and I kind of like that about it. It was a little bit on the cheese side in the dialogue department, I'm just gonna admit that, but that didn't really bug me, because there were at least some cool character introductions in this one. However, I just feel like there's so much you could have done with this Dark Phoenix thing that they just didn't do. And I even struggle with the Dark Phoenix plotline in the cartoon because some of it is just such flipping nonsense. It's just so cray-cray and just, it makes me just go, that is just too silly. And I'm probably gonna get a ton of flack for saying all of this that I'm saying, but you know, I can't help how I feel. Also, I feel like sometimes in a comic book, people do aliens and outer space really well, and sometimes they don't, and it just comes off a little bit cheesy and a little bit just, you know, why? Why are we in outer space with aliens suddenly? Like, what is happening here? X-Men say what? But the main reason I will say that I didn't finish the Dark Phoenix Saga was because this was about the time when Amazon Kindle and Comixology merged. And at this time, all the comics that I bought on Amazon Kindle kind of got jacked up and suddenly had like errors, wouldn't open, like, or disappeared, or became samples when I knew that about the book. They've actually now made it really easy to merge your Comixology and Kindle accounts, which is awesome. Now I could, in theory, read the Dark Phoenix Saga in its entirety, but I'm questioning whether I want to. Next graphic novel that I did not complete was V for Vendetta, mostly just because it was really depressing. And I think, you know, sad books have their place, but I do think there needs to be a light moment in that sadness. Some of these books did not have that, and V for Vendetta is one of them. It's just struggle and pain and murder and vengeance and sadness, and there's no real like moment of relaxation because it's just so very intense. So I think I got maybe past the halfway point. I got well into V for Vendetta and I was just like, my heart can't take it anymore. Now, maybe someday I will get in the right mood and be able to complete it, but I think I DNF'd this twice. So I just don't know if my heart can take V for Vendetta, but I love the movie. I'm going to continue to be in love with the movie. And the last book I have for you guys, which was a graphic novel as well, was From Hell. And I just cannot believe that there are 2 Alan Moore comics on this list, and it makes me so very sad. But I was completely unable to finish From Hell, even though I really enjoy, yet again, the movie. When I go to read From Hell, the writing of the story is not actually the problem, even though it is very dark because obviously it is based around the Jack the Ripper story, and it is very dark. The thing that keeps me from completing From Hell is the art and the lettering. I totally get that they're using the art to set a mood and a vibe of the time period and kind of the dark thing, but something about the art makes one character almost totally indistinguishable from another, and that is really difficult to get into and want to sit down and read because you're kind of like, who is this? What is happening? Well, I would not go as far as to say that the lettering in this is indistinguishable. It is occasionally very chicken scratchy. So you're not really knowing who is who, and you're also not being able to read the lettering, or at least sometimes I can't. I tried, y'all. Like, I read it in digital, so I like zoomed, and it did help, but it's like, man, I shouldn't have to work this hard to understand what's going on in this graphic novel. Just wish the art and the lettering had a little bit more clarity. Those were some of the books that I just shamefully did not finish or just didn't enjoy, so I stopped reading them. And I hope you guys enjoyed my little crazy ranty video. The hands were really going on this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Thank you for watching. Bye!